Climate change, peace, and nuclear weapons are all very serious issues facing humanity today. The youth needs to consider these problems in order to try and preserve the environment for the future generations. The United Nations helps to spread word about these problems around the globe and thus to attract government's attention in order for the required policies and reforms to be implemented.
After all of the strikes and protests by youth in EU and around the world, how come that the policymakers are still not responding?
Although youth care about many issues, such as climate change and access to affordable healthcare, one of the key issues facing young people today is the fact that not only do they feel that leadership does not care about these issues, but they feel that leadership is not taking their specific concerns into account. To rectify this, leaders around the world should create programs and establish ways to actually hear young voices and, more importantly, to lift up those voices who are most often not heard.
There is not a secret that governments prefer to spend millions of dollars on military power, which nowadays includes nuclear weapons. But will this help to deal with increasing poverty, lack of medical care, infrastructure, climate changes, and many other economic and social aspects? I don't think so. That is why I ask governments and international organizations to listen to the voices of scientists, parliamentarians, as well as ordinary people, including the youth. I believe that United Nations, European Union, and OSCE are capable of changing lives of billions of people living on our planet by assisting governments in choosing the correct priorities.
So I've been surfing Hawaii these past days, which is one of the most isolated places on the globe. And even here, I've been paddling through a lot of plastic trash, a lot of plastic bottles. What can the organizations do to prevent this? Well, except for the obvious, making policies and initiatives to tackle this problem, these organizations are comprised of individuals. So why don't they lead by example, being role models as individuals to all of us?
It's the year 2020, and I think it's important that we continue to highlight the United Nations Sustainability Goals for 2030. Some of these goals can be seen in nuclear disarmament, uplifting peace, and climate change. In particular for climate change, this can be seen in the fact that 11% of the world's population is still vulnerable to increases in climate change, such as the rising sea level, heat waves, drought, and famine. We are the ones that decide to see what change we want to see. And as a European youth, particularly an international student that's studying in the EU, we are the ones who have the power to do this. To quote Angel, the world doesn't change, people change it. And we're the ones who can choose to see what kind of change we want to see, a positive one or a negative one.
I think the governments should give more support to the United Nations in 2020 and beyond. The United Nations is the crown of the international system. It's made for cooperation, it's made for multilateral dialogue, much needed today in the face of the rising new global challenges in the areas of international security, climate change, and many, many more. We count on the United Nations. Though the United Nations is strong when the governments show strong support into the mission and the core role of the United Nations.
We, the youth of 2020, have seen lots of disasters while growing up, and many of disasters are yet to come. However, we still have a chance to change the future, a chance to save it for us all. But to do so, we need the United Nations to assist us, provide us with a platform to share ideas, create work camps, to share experience among adolescents. Let us lead you into the world of innovative solutions for climate change and nuclear weapons, all from our perspectives. We know how to tackle it. We want to be heard. We want our voices harmonized at once so loud that the vibration spread onto every edge of the planet.
My name is Marlon Dipinda Stella, the coordinator of Children for Peace and the laureate of the International Children Peace Prize 2019. In response to the increasing threat of climate change, and the proliferation of nuclear weapons, United Nations must strengthen resolution aiming at, on one side, settling global nuclear non-proliferation regime, and on the other side, taking actions to mitigate and to combat the effect of climate change by putting children, especially girls, at the center of all actions.